On Saturday, amid the anti-immigrant protests in the Swedish capital, a far-right politician reportedly burned a copy of Quran outside the Turkish embassy. The Danish far-right political party Hardline, led by Ramses Platon, was responsible for the arson. In Stockholm, there was a march in support of the Kurds and other rally opposing Sweden's membership application to NATO, while a fourth group of demonstrators friendly to Turkey gathered in front of the embassy. Foreign Minister Tobias Billström of Sweden expressed his outrage at the Quran burning on Twitter on Saturday. The Islamophobia sneers are quite upsetting. It is not that the Swedish government or I agree with the idea being expressed just because we have a lot of freedom of expression in Sweden, he remarked. Right-wing extremists demonstrated outside the Turkish embassy in Stockholm, Sweden on Saturday, burning a Quran and chanting anti-Muslim obscenities. The Swedish government's decision to let the right-wing organization to hold the protest has been criticized for its association with the violence that took place in Sweden's capital city of Stockholm. The Swedish defense minister was planning to visit Turkey to negotiate the country's membership in NATO, but Turkey opted to postpone his visit. Protests were held over the weekend at the Swedish embassy in Ankara and the Swedish consulate in Istanbul. But why do some extremist groups in Europe burn copies of the Quran? And what do they really gain from it? The burning of holy texts is a controversial and divisive act that has been used as a form of protest and provocation by extremist groups in Europe. In this video, we will explore the motivations behind the behavior and provide several real-life examples to illustrate our argument. The first reason why some extremist groups in Europe burned the copies of Quran is to protest against the perceived threat of Islam to European societies.
Look at the Islamization of our country. There is a lot of Moroccan scum in Holland who makes the streets unsafe.
The Islamic ideology is a threat to our freedom.
Groups like Patriotic Europeans Against the Islamization of the West in Germany and the English Defence League in the UK argue that the spread of Islam poses a threat to European cultures and values. They believe that burning the Quran is a way to draw attention to this perceived threat and to rally support for their cause. Another reason why some extremist groups burn copies of the Quran is to provoke a reaction from the Muslim community. This can be seen in the actions of the far-right group, the Soldiers of Odin in Finland, who have been known to burn copies of Quran as a way to provoke Muslims and incite violence. The third reason why some extremist groups burn copies of Quran is to create a sense of fear and division within the society. This can be seen in the actions of the group Generation Identity in Austria, who have burned copies of the Quran in public spaces as a way to intimidate and threaten the Muslim community. Fourth reason is to show their disdain and disrespect towards the religion. It can be seen in the actions of the group Generation Identitaire in France, who have burned copies of the Quran to express their opposition to the religion and show their contempt for its followers. The fifth reason is to gain attention and publicity. Burning Quran is a way to draw attention to themselves and their cause, and to gain publicity for their group. This can be seen in the actions of the group For Freedom in Poland, who have burned copies of the Quran as a way to gain attention and attract new members to their organization. The sixth and final reason why some extremist groups burn copies of the Quran is to gain support from other extremist groups and individuals. This can be seen in the actions of the group Viking in the Norway, who have burned copies of Quran as a way to gain support from other far-right and nationalist groups in Europe. In conclusion, burning copies of the Quran is a divisive and controversial act that is often motivated by a belief that Islam poses a threat to European societies. It is used as a form of protest, provocation, and as a means to gain attention and support. These real-world examples illustrate the different motivations behind the behavior and show the dangerous consequences that can result from such actions. It is important to remember that burning any holy text can be an act of hostility and disrespectfulness, and we should all strive to promote tolerance, mutual understanding, and respect for all religions and cultures.